My name is Sharon, aka the Cancer Mum cheerleader, and I had cancer 4 years ago, um, and I didn't have any real support, like professional support throughout it, and so I very much didn't want any other mum to feel how I felt, and I very much wanted to break the stigma that is around talking about cancer, because it is very much a subject that people just don't talk about. So I decided to start mentoring mums who have gone through cancer, and this is how then Unbreakable Voices was born, because there are so many mums out there like me who want to tell their story, not just for themselves but for others, and to help raise awareness, because I think for a lot of people, knowing to know your own body can help them with the early detection and help save lives. So today we had the lovely Sophie on.
Hi.
Hi. So I'm just going to start asking questions, and we're just going to find out more about Sophie's story. So Sophie, so tell me a bit about yourself and what life looked like before your cancer diagnosis.
Right. So before my diagnosis, I just got married 4 months, 5 months before actually, by the time I had the diagnosis. So I was obviously still in honeymoon phase. I've got two girls who are now 13 and 11, and my husband's got two boys who are 12 and 16. So we were a busy, active family. Me and my husband like festivals, going away, that sort of thing. So, a lot of our time, like child-free weekends, were spent, making the most of us and our relationship.
Yeah.
And then, as a weekend when we have all the kids, or days that we've got all the kids, that was very much, we were always just like a family unit doing stuff together. So obviously that's all changed dramatically. Um, but yeah, obviously I was working full time. I've got my own hair salon. So yeah, it's all changed a lot.
Mm. So what type of cancer were you diagnosed with?
So I was originally told I had a low grade glioma. Obviously, with brain tumours, they can't always, well, they can't tell you what it is until you've had it biopsied. So you need to wait for surgery. So I had surgery on December 1st, and 10 days later, I was told it was a grade 3 astrocytoma, which is a high grade brain cancer.
How did it even come about? Like, how did you even then know?
So, well, it's a bit weird because, oh God, I go into the story and it's probably quite depressing. So I'm sorry if this triggers anyone.
No, this is what we're here for.
So I didn't really notice any changes in myself, and it's only like in hindsight looking back. So my tumor was obviously up here where you can see my bald patch, and this bit all deals with like your memory and personality disorders, like behavioral changes and things. So I obviously hadn't noticed anything, but like a few of my work colleagues and friends, since I've obviously had the diagnosis, have said, "Oh, we noticed this and that." But about a year before, sorry, I'll just say quickly. So I had a seizure, which was the big red flag, in the middle of the salon whilst I was cutting someone's hair. But about a year before that, myself and my husband had been out with some friends, and one of them, our friend Dean, and his son Charlie, I do talk about this quite openly, left the pub that we were in early to walk home because obviously the 9 p.m. cut-off time. And by the time we got back to their house, the mum slash wife, my friend Ashley, had basically had a phone call saying they'd been hit by a drunk driver, and they
Oh,
ended up
oh,
dying. So obviously,
oh.
because I'm friends with the mum, I went to hospital with her and obviously witnessed the whole thing in hospital. So a lot of like when I had all these personality changes and things coming up, everybody was just going, "Oh, she's grieving, like she's traumatized from seeing all of that." So even my own GP had said if I'd have gone down and said, "I've got these symptoms," he'd have just gone, "Oh, it's stress, grief, anxiety. So it was the seizure that was the real red flag for it. Yeah.
Blimey. I mean, describe those words when you hear you've got cancer. Like, what was going through your mind?
So I think in my situation, probably it's a little bit different because I knew I had a brain tumour. For me, obviously, when I was in the like neurosurgeon's office and he was giving me the actual like physical biopsy results, it's a bit weird because I had my surgery done awake. I actually knew, I said as soon as I came out, so I said to my husband and my mum, I said, I'm definitely having radio and chemo. And the only reason that I thought that was because when I was awake, they were obviously, they're doing this job every day. It's like second nature to them. You know, they're taking 3, 4 brain tumours out a day. And when they were doing it, they were talking about what it looked like, what the cells looked like. And I can remember everything like that. So obviously when I came out, I was like, there'd been mention. I actually thought they were going to tell me I had glioblastoma because that word had been thrown around. So when it came back as grade 3, I was actually like going, oh, thank goodness it's not that bad. But yeah, the words like actually saying like you've got cancer was just, I was still upset. Like I was still heartbroken, obviously, because it's not something that you ever expect to hear. And I think as well, it's like, because I'd already had like weeks and months where I'd been obviously doctor Googling and researching brain tumours and things. I knew my outcome wasn't going to be that great either which way. So it was just one of those where it's like I was mentally prepared for it to be cancer. Obviously, all brain tumours are cancers, but they just call some benign because they're slow growing. But hearing the actual words, like I think it's just one of those moments. It's almost like, the only way I can explain it is it's like, so when I met my husband, his youngest son has autism, and he always explains it like, you know, when they told them that when they actually diagnosed him as autistic, you know, the doctor looked shocked that they weren't more like upset and emotional about it. But it's like you've already been living with it, so it's like a diagnosis doesn't change it, if that makes sense. And I already knew I had a brain tumor, so hearing those words didn't affect me as much as I thought it would, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And no, I think everyone sort of deals with it very differently.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not something you ever expect. I mean, how old was you when you were then diagnosed?
36.
I was 36.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't expect at 36 to be told then.
And I think that's the thing. It's like you don't imagine it. So we've only just bought our house in 2022, and it's things like, you know, we never bothered taking out critical like insurance, critical illness cover, because we thought we're both in our 30s. Like, you know, maybe we'll add it on in a few years without thinking that like 2 years later we'd be sitting here going, shit, why didn't we take that critical cover out?
Exactly. But you don't think about it. It's just, yeah. What advice would you give to somebody who has just been diagnosed in terms of then they're telling their family, like by your own experience?
So I think for me, I found it better to be honest straight away. I've always been quite an honest and open person anyway. And I think it's like you have to have those honest conversations with your family and your loved ones. I think just because it's easier sometimes to give them all the information like you've received so they can digest it in one, rather than passing on little snippets and then having to go back and repeat yourself, because I think that can be worse for you mentally going through it. It's easier just to get it out in the open straight away. Obviously, I know like other friends who are on the cancer journey who don't like sharing that much about it, especially when you're talking about prognoses and things. But I think it's so important as well because you have to plan so much. No one prepares you for how much planning it takes to have cancer. So, yeah, my advice would be, you know, be as open and honest as possible so that you can all digest things together so you don't feel
Yeah.
alone doing it.
No, that's good advice. 'Cause I think as well, if you sort of have to go back and you can't then sort of concentrate on yourself and on then the
Yeah,
actual battle because you're having to sort of just repeat things again and sort of go
yeah,
over it.
yeah. I think that's the hardest bit. I think even, like, well, you'll know yourself when you go and speak to new medical people and you have to go, right, I was this, that, and blah, 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 blah. And it's actually really tiring to have to keep repeating your cycle of what you've done, what you've had so far.
Yeah. And I always assume that like they know, and then they're
Yeah,
like, "Oh, we don't." There's I'm like, "Oh,
yeah. It's like if I ever have to go to A&E for anything, or if I get called down and I have to sit through triage and they're like, why are you here? And I'm like, you not got my medical files? Like, I've got my own medical files. Like, just have a look. Brain cancer. It's really
yeah,
not that difficult.
it's ridiculous." So you're a mum, and everyone's experience when it comes to tending their children is very different. Like for me, one of mine knows and the other one doesn't. How did you go about telling them if you have told them?
So, the day I eventually got given an MRI scan, so I don't normally have my children on a Thursday, they go to their dad's. So, I actually had my MRI done on the Thursday morning. And then in the afternoon, when they called me back in to tell me it was a brain tumour, I'd obviously rang my mum. My husband had come to pick because they told me I had to go straight back down to the hospital and be admitted.
Hmm.
Um, so I can't remember whether it was me or whether it was my mum, but one of us phoned my children's dad and just explained it to him. I think it was my mum actually, and she asked him to tell them like what had happened. Um, and that was they were fine, they were really understanding. And then the next day my mum actually kept them off of school and brought them into the hospital because we thought I was going to have to be flown to the UK straight away, which I wasn't, so it was quite nice. But then obviously it was hard for them because they just saw me in hospital then. And I think, especially my little one who's 11, she was really, really emotional, and she was like, it's just, I think she couldn't look at me without thinking like, cancer, you're just going to die.
Hmm.
So, but then it's difficult because they're also at an age where they're so self-involved as well. Like teenagers tend to be very, very selfish. So as much as it's like you try and tell them bits and pieces, and I think it's difficult because I don't know like really what my prognosis is. There's nothing like cancer doesn't have like they can only give you their 5-year marks. So it's not
Hmm.
like, you can go on a cycle of, I think it's like obviously if you're towards the end of life and palliative, then it's totally different scenario, and there'll probably be a different conversation then. But the conversation, obviously, when I saw them, was more based around what was happening in the here and now and what we needed to get through, and then talked about each step as it came along.
Hmm. I think that's a good way to doing it because then, yeah, they can then digest it
Yeah,
step by step
yeah.
because
I'm
otherwise it
quite,
would just be too overwhelming.
yeah, and I think I'm quite lucky with my two. They're both quite conscientious and empathetic.
That's good.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I'm quite lucky.
So what treatment have you had then for the
So,
cancer? And has it all been in the UK? Have you had to go to the
yeah.
UK for it?
So, for those of you who don't know, I live in Jersey in the Channel Islands, which is about 15 miles off the coast of France. And we have a really, really small hospital. So, any specialist treatment, I think the only like kind of proper cancer clinic we have here is breast and maybe some urology, but we've got
Okay.
no neurosurgeons or anything. So even like so when I had my MRI scan done here, the Southampton team said that it wasn't good enough and I had to go and be scanned in their MRI scanner.
Oh
Like we're
wow.
quite far behind here. So I had to travel, I think I went 2 days before, so maybe like the 28th or 29th of November. I travelled to Southampton. I had my craniotomy done on the 1st of December. And then I came home for Christmas, had a really nice Christmas with the girls. Because obviously by that point I knew that I was having further treatment, but I didn't tell any of the kids until after Christmas because I thought I didn't want them to have that worry then of, that's it, kind of Christmas is going to be ruined, it's all going to be rubbish. And my youngest one was still a believer at the time. So in case anybody's watching me say yeah. So I didn't, and I thought, that was, for me, it was like a really big thing because like Christmas is my favourite time of the year. And I thought, I knew that after the radiotherapy I was going to lose my hair and stuff like that. So I just wanted to make sure that Christmas was like even more special than normal. So that was obviously really, really hard. And obviously, like, everybody on my TikTok page was like, oh, have you had your results yet? Have you had your results yet? So I just had to keep saying I'm waiting for the, like, histology ones to come through, but actually I knew. So I'd pre-recorded my video when I got back and the kids were at school. So I'd pre-filmed my video like 2-3 weeks before. So I think by the point I'd actually come to, like, telling the kids and stuff that I was having to have further treatment, I was stronger at that point because I'd had all that time to digest it myself as well. So I started radiotherapy on the 13th of January, and that finished on the 26th of February. So I had like 33 sessions. Which was hardcore, tiredness and stuff. And obviously that meant I was away from the kids again for 7 weeks. So that's like 9 weeks in total, or just over 9 weeks I've been away from them for.
How long was each radiotherapy session? I only asked because I had my cancer in my eye, but my actual radiotherapy was literally like 3 minutes.
So mine wasn't even that. I think I filmed a TikTok on it, and I think it took something like 32 seconds for the actual. Because I don't think people realise with that machine doing like the 360, like how quick it can go round. I know obviously different areas, like I find it weird, but obviously there's only so much your body can handle. Like they call it grays, don't they? The scale of what they do.
Yeah.
So I had, I think, 60 grays over those 6.5 weeks. But obviously a lot of people, like when it's like breast or other areas, they can have like a higher dose in a shorter time, if that makes sense. So each daily one can be a higher dose because the area's not, obviously with brain, it's like it needs to be over, because obviously it can do so much damage to other cells around it. And they're trying to limit how much damage they do. But I didn't mind like radiotherapy. It's not. I didn't mind it. Like I think I'd got to that point where I was like, do you know what? I've been for an awake surgery. Like how many people can say they've done that? And I'm like a proper weirdo as well. I was there to because I was private. I said to my team, I was like, can I bring my phone in? Like, I was like, do I have to take my nails off? Like, it was great. And then because it was like coming up to Christmas, my surgeon, Dr. Grundy at Southampton, honestly, if anybody needs brain surgery, please go and see him. Like, he's phenomenal. Like his PA would get back to me so quickly. So I was like, it's even because I think I had to try and lighten the mood because I'm one of those people, like I like a laugh and a joke. So I was going like, can I bring my phone to have a playlist? And can you ask Mr. Grundy whether he'd prefer Taylor Swift or Christmas music? So it was quite, it was quite funny.
I love that though. I think sometimes in those scenarios, it's like you either laugh or you cry. So
yeah. And I think I'm one of those people as well. I think if I start crying, I don't know if I'll pull myself out that quick. Like I always do, but I just find it's like when you're in that pit of like, it's really hard to get back up.
No, absolutely. So what what is the plan for then, like, further treatment? Like, is there further treatment? Like, what is the
Yeah.
plan?
So at the minute, I'll be starting my fourth cycle of chemo, not next week, the week after, if my bloods are okay next week. So they've recommended that I do 12, but they said a lot of people don't make it to the 12 to do the 12 rounds of it. So I obviously have that done at home because it's tablets. I just get them dispensed from the pharmacy. So I
Okay.
do, yeah, so I do 5 days on and then 23 days off. And everybody's like, oh, it's just once a month. But actually, my life is now in a 4 weeks, a 28-day cycle. Do you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like I have 5 days where I feel absolutely shit. And it normally kicks in, say, like 2 days after I've started. So it doesn't,
Okay.
like, it takes a couple of days to build up. And then I normally feel shit for like maybe 2 or 3 days after. So I have to, sorry, I'm just going to make connections going bad. That's better. Um, so yeah, so it's like my life's just on a cycle of chemo
Hmm.
basically. And I think it's hard because it's like you still want to be able to do like nice things with the kids and stuff at the weekend. Um,
Mm.
and it's like there's sometimes when you feel so crap, you're like, and I think like sometimes they don't understand, and it's really
Yeah.
difficult to be like, I can't go and physically go and do that today because I don't feel well enough.
Mm.
um but yeah, so I've got another 9 rounds, so start my fourth one in a couple of weeks. Yeah, so not another 9 in total, and then I think it's just like we just watch and wait and see what happens. And then obviously I think there is scope for more surgery when it grows back. And then I think there's a different type of chemo that they do, but obviously radiotherapy you can only have the once in the one area.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So a lot of people don't know that. So everybody thinks, oh well, it's fine. You'll just go and have like radio and that again. But I'm like,
Oh,
no, that's it. I can't have any more on my brain. Had the
oh
whole
wow.
possible, yeah,
Blimey.
yeah,
I mean, you're going through something that I think people just it's like you sort of like you hear about these things that happen to other people and it never happens to you, and it's kind of like watching a movie and it's like
yeah.
no, like it's just it's crazy. What do you think? Obviously, like cancer has impacted you, but how do you think it's impacted you the most then, like as a mum?
I think just in terms of like I don't like I felt there's a lot of times where I don't feel as present as I used to be. Like,
Mm.
and I think that's one of the things, like my kids have always been like my pride and joy. So I think it's quite difficult going from like being really active, doing loads of stuff with them to not being able to do as much. And it's more like I think sometimes it can be the physical side of it, because obviously with having the surgery on this side, now my left side doesn't work so well. So it's not like I can run around and play football with them anymore and stuff like that. So I just think it's more the actual being present in their lives. And it's like trying to find other ways of doing that now. So whether it's like, oh, we'll all sit here and watch one of the TV programs that they want to watch or something, rather than we just have to figure out ways to change it and make it a bit different.
Yeah. And I think that's good because a lot of times, like a lot of mums that I spoke to, and I think I sort of had it as well, you get then this like this mum guilt
Yeah,
where it's then like it can just really consume you, but then it's you just have to kind of remember, well, it's not your fault you have cancer.
yeah.
Like you didn't ask to have it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing as well. And it's like people can be really, really judgmental as well when you get a cancer diagnosis. Like, I won't lie, like, like I said earlier, I love a festival, I love having a drink. I'm always been a very social person, smoked, vaped, and I think a lot of people just take it for granted and being like, oh, you like, but then you weren't living the healthiest lifestyle.
Mm.
No, I might not have been, but then I got brain tumour. Do you know what? If I'd have got lung cancer, I'd have probably gone, yeah, that's probably from smoking fags. But
Yeah,
I know that it's not that. So, yeah, it's
yeah,
difficult.
yeah. I think everyone who has an opinion just kind of needs to keep it to themselves,
Yeah,
really.
yeah, definitely. I think that's one of the hardest bits navigating it is the other people.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. And I think I think it's ignorance a lot of the time, and people not, it's whether it's because there's not enough sort of educating around cancer, or if it's just because it is such a taboo subject and people don't talk about it. But the things that people say, it's like that's not what you should be saying.
yeah,
Oh, it's not. Oh, you got the good cancer, or and it's
yeah.
like, oh my god.
I do quite like that though. Sometimes I go, yeah, I got the really bad one, so you know,
It's ridiculous. It's just, or it be a case of on the other side after you've had cancer. Oh, so you're okay now, and it's like,
yeah.
well,
But I
no.
think that's it. Like I have to keep explaining to people. So when I say like, oh, I've got incurable cancer, it's like it's incurable but treatable at the moment. And
Hmm.
it's like I was actually speaking to one of the other brain tumor, a mum who's got a daughter with a brain tumor on here the other day. And I did mention it in one of my videos. I was saying sometimes I feel like a bit of a fraud. And I go, what's going to happen in, say, like, I don't know, a year's time? Like, if I'm like still alive, are people going to be going, oh, I thought you had brain cancer. Why aren't you dead yet? Does that make
That is
sense?
an awful
I
thing
know,
to.
but that's how my brain works
Oh
now.
my
I always think like that.
gosh.
But then it's,
Please don't think like that.
I know,
I'm
I
not a
also,
fraud.
what was I going to say? I lose my trail of thought all the time now. Memory loss is shocking.
You
Be
got an
making
excuse.
exercise for doing this. Um,
Um, I've just seen a couple of comments. Samantha said, "You're doing amazing. You're strong, and you keep going." And Becky said, "Absolutely agree. People are so opinionated, and they shouldn't be." And Samantha's also said, "You better be here more than a year."
oh, that's my
Absolutely.
sister, bless her.
Oh.
Yeah. She's having a baby.
Oh,
Yeah, I need to stick
congratulations. Does she
around
know
for
she's
a bit.
having?
No, I don't think she does. Do you know what you're having yet, Sam? I think she's having a secret. We're all having a
Oh.
Disney surprise. We all got a lovely Disney video sent out announcing her pregnancy. It's cute.
Oh, that's amazing. I
Yeah,
love
it's
Disney.
sweet.
I'm a massive Disney fan. No, not finding out. Oh. I don't know why I'm like,
Like you
oh,
saw that before me. I was like, going, what are you talking about? And I seen it pop up.
that's so annoying.
Oh, poor baby. Like she's wanted one for so long that actually it's really, and it is one of those now where it's like, I think as well, like I haven't told her this, so sorry, Sam, if you're watching. I did speak to my mum about it. I said, obviously, there was a little part of me where, obviously, like me and Jordan had only been married 4 months, and we basically, before we've even had a proper chat about would we want any more kids and stuff, had that taken off the table completely with the chemo and stuff. So
Mm,
it was like difficult, and I think it's hard. Like I think some like people don't realize when you've got a cancer diagnosis, and especially one where the prognosis isn't as good as some others, that they don't realize that actually it's really hard to find joy in other people's joy.
mm,
Not that I'm a really bitter person or anything, but I think that's one of those things that I've had to learn along this journey is that I'm still allowed to be happy for other people as well. But
yeah.
I can be happy, but also be sad at the same time, and I'm allowed to feel
Of
all those
course.
feelings.
Yeah. Because again, you didn't ask for cancer, it's not your fault. And because of it, you've had that snatched away. So of
Yeah,
course you're allowed to feel those feelings.
yeah,
Like, absolutely. Yeah, Becky said, that, yes, of course you are. So, for someone who is currently in the thick of their cancer battle,
yeah.
what would you say to them? What advice would you give them?
Ignore anything that you don't like the sound of. Advocate for yourself. Never be afraid to advocate for yourself. If any hospital medical professionals make you feel like crap, but you need that, then you push and you push and you fight for it. Because if you don't, you can end up being way worse off than what you would be if you're not pushing for it straight away. And even simple things like chasing up scans when you're in the thick of it. Like a lot of people, like, well, me, for example, so my oncologist here decided that I would be okay not having a scan until after I'd finished my chemotherapy. So I was like, no, like I want a scan, like at some point joining it. Going through it, sorry, not joining it. So I've obviously pushed for that. So yeah, I think that's the thing. And I think people just need to remember as well, like, it's okay not to be okay. Like, I'm quite happy. Like some days, like when I've, sorted the kids out for school and stuff, I'll quite happily sit here. And if I've just got Grey's Anatomy on and a really sad scene comes on, I kind of just let my tears flow then, because I think you need that. I think it's like a physical pain. If you hold on to your tears for too long, it's like that pain you get in your chest is horrendous.
Yeah, you need to release it.
Yeah. So advocate for yourself. Don't be scared to advocate for yourself. Be scared. Don't be scared to have all the feels, and make sure that you have a good cry every now and again.
Yeah.
Lift your crown, Queen, and carry on.
Especially the advocate, because if I had listened to my doctor who thought it was an allergic reaction to something, I don't know what it would have looked like, but it was because I was like, no, I don't think it's an allergic reaction to something. I think there's something wrong, and I went back for a second opinion. And I think you have to know your body and know if something doesn't feel right.
Yeah,
you've got to keep going back.
It's weird as well. So I always have this joke. So I've got a really good friend who's into like manifesting and stuff, and I was saying to her months ago,
a bit of manifestation.
Oh, do you? So I was saying, like, I just need a bit of time off work. I just need a reason to have a bit of time off work. So I was like semi-manifesting, like having a break from work. And then this happened. So she was like, Jesus, Sophie, come on, like, you're definitely manifesting wrong. She was like, can you be a bit more like, what's the word she used? What's the word for like when you need to be like not structured, but be more
like specific?
Yeah, specific. Need to be more.
I can't say that word. That's why I was trying not to say it, because I can't say it properly. I always want to say specific.
So you have to pick up on those words.
I mean, I think you needed to kind of then just change that manifestation slightly.
Definitely.
What word? So we're on our final question. We're going to end with, what word would you associate with cancer?
Oh, that's a good one. I thought about this one before I came on, shouldn't I?
I didn't send this one. I changed it.
Oh, did you? Oh, that's why. What word would I associate with it? Just one word.
One word.
Just one.
Yeah.
Gratitude.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah. Definitely think I've got way more gratitude for life in general. Yeah. And just like, not taking things for granted anymore.
Mm-hmm. Even like, I'll be walking, I've really got into walking lately, and even when I'm just walking and I'm hearing the birds tweeting, I'm like, I'm grateful for birds tweeting. Like, before, I didn't give a monkeys about birds.
I said this to the other day. So when we bought our house, like, my dog's got loads of allergies. So we had all the old garden ripped out, and we had all like pat and conquer. Well, you'll have seen my garden on TikTok, any of those who follow me, and artificial grass put down. But the other day it actually rained, and I said, I just actually really miss the smell of like wet grass when it's just rained. And I know that sounds so simple, but I was thinking like that's one of those things that I think I've always thought, like walking my dog through the back lanes, is like that smell of wet grass. It's just so appealing. Hiya. There's some in the top drawer if you want it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Becky says it's little things we take for granted until we're seriously sick and ill. And it is. People take good health for granted.
Yeah.
They take, being able to walk for granted. Like, we take so much for granted. I think it's until you have any illness diagnosis, I think it's then you're like, ah, okay.
And I think it is one of those, like you said earlier, you know, you never think it's going to happen to you
Right.
either. So, yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? And I'm just determined, like, I just want to keep shouting about it.
And I think that's the best thing and the most admirable thing that you can do. I know for some people they do shy away from talking about cancer, and especially if they don't know, you know, what the next year, 5 years is going to look like. But I feel personally that when you've gone through or you're going through it, you kind of then, not an obligation, that's the wrong word, but I just feel like we owe it to other people to tell our story, because there might be something in that story that then
Yeah,
resonates.
definitely. I mean, I posted a video months ago about a certain celebrity, which ended up going massively viral, and I got loads of death threats off of it. So I'm not going to talk about it in too much great detail.
Well, I'm
But
gonna have to message you after about that. I don't know what that is.
right. But I was frustrated, and I was saying, you know, like, why can't, you know, like, celebrities do these jobs for a reason, you know? And it's like, if you look at, I don't know if you follow Lisa Connell, who runs the platform Influential Stars. So, but she's on there and she's always just saying, anybody with like 10,000 followers, whether you're an influencer or a celebrity, anybody who's been through that, who can do it, you know, you should share. And I think that's a really important thing. Like, that's my whole thing. I'm like, if the more followers I've got, the more awareness I'm raising. And it's like, you know, I have people message me daily, you know, I've just been diagnosed with this, or my mum's just been diagnosed with this. I got a lovely follower called Chloe, who's so lovely, so kind and caring, and always like gives me little updates on her family member who's got it. And I just think it's like, you know, it's knowing those small bits about your life is helping someone else navigate their own journey as well. And I think that's where it's really, really important.
Absolutely. I mean, I had someone over on Instagram. She started following me, and I messaged her because I always message all my followers to say, you know, thank you for for following me. And she had just recently been diagnosed, and I was talking to her, and she was then like really thankful for me talking to her, and she said she was going to find out her results in the next 3 weeks. And then I sort of made a mental note to remember to ask her. So then I asked her, and she was like, oh, thank you so much. And she was like, you get it. Like, I tried to speak to other people, and you get it. And then someone else followed me, and then she said, oh yeah, I'm her sister. And I had voice noted, because I mean, you know, I love a voice note. And she was like, we listened to your voice note together, and it was just so lovely. Like, we're so glad that you're just trying to help. And it's like, why wouldn't I? Like,
Well, no,
why
exactly.
wouldn't you?
But that's it. I've always done that as well. And as soon as I know, like, if there's someone who's messaged me, who I'll always say, like, do you want to chat on WhatsApp? Well, like I did with you, is WhatsApp easier? And then I do that. Like, I don't post everything on TikTok, but I do actually send out little care packages as well to like people who are going through. I just don't shout about it because I don't feel there's a need to. I mean, if they want to share it, I just think it's like one of those. I think until you've been through like brain surgery, especially, you don't realise all the little things that you need. So I always just like to go, right, I'll do that. So yeah.
But that must just feel like a massive warm hug to someone though when they receive that, because it's like that they know that you get it, you understand.
And I think as well, like, you know, I don't know what it was like with you, but sometimes a lot of like even your family members, they don't know what to do for you. They don't know what they can get you to like make you feel better. So I felt like I ended up with loads of junk, like people getting me like gift bags with like stuff in that I'm probably not going to use as well. And I'm like going, you know, if you wanted to, like, God, I sound really horrible saying it, but you know, it's almost like if you wanted to do something like that, it's probably a bit easier to ask, is there anything that you need that we can do? Me and Jordan were actually just talking about this sort of thing in the car on the way home. We were talking about, it's like when somebody sets up a GoFundMe page, like people donate to it because it makes them feel like they're helping and they're doing something good. We were actually saying it because he basically said to me in the car, he was like, "You have the best social life out of anyone I know now." And it's because like I've got friends who like obviously like doing hairdressing. I've got a lot of hairdressing friends who are all off on different days during the week. So like basically I just get taken out for lunch like 3 times a week. And I was saying that's their way of like doing something where they feel like they're getting me out of the house and stuff like that.
Yeah. And why not?
Yeah, why not? I'll never turn down a free lunch. So if anyone wants to pick me up and take me out for lunch, feel free.
Take her for a strawberries and cream sandwich.
Yeah, that's what I need. Strawberries and cream sandwich. Alexa's just come down and she sat eating a jar of Nutella ice cream. Have you seen this? Have you seen them? Here, let me show you that. It's like full on Nutella tub of ice cream. But it's like the first layer of it when you break it open is like a hard layer of Nutella. It's really good. I'm going to have a little bit. Thanks.
I don't even know. I've not seen that over here. I don't even know if you can get that over here.
They do like Kinder Bueno Cornettos as well. So good. Yeah.
All we do is talk about food. I'm hungry.
Ridiculous. Have you had your pizza?
I have. Crikey. Well, I'm so glad that we got to do this. Like, your story is just so inspiring. I mean, it's inspiring what you're doing, and the fact that you come on and then you share it, and it's whilst eating ice cream. I mean, that's multitasking. That is.
Just don't take the ice cream for granted.
But thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it.
And no doubt I'll chat to you after.
Yeah, I was going to say, I want to know who that celebrity was.
Yeah. Send you the video.
Yeah. But for anyone else who has been watching and has a story, I mean, every story is worth telling. But if you would like to come and talk to me on Unbreakable Voices as well, then just message me. I'm not very good on TikTok. Like, I'm more on Instagram, but I do come on TikTok like daily just to sort of check.
Doom scroll, whatever they call it.
Yeah. But thank you so much, Sophie. I loved being able to help you share your story. So it's amazing.
Thank you. And I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Right,
see you later. Bye.
Bye.